stopping by the channel. My name's Aaliyah, and we're going to talk about this tired episode of Real Housewives of OC. Thank you, reality TV gods, that this crap is over. And it better not be no 3-part reunion. Y'all, I saw the reunion trailer. It's giving very much lame sauce, because the trailer legitimately was like 70 to 60% of backstage drama, and mainly pertaining to Shannon having wardrobe issues, and then them fight like maybe like 30, or like I would be like maybe 30 to slightly 40. Honestly, 40 is pushing it, of them fighting on stage. So I'm like, oh, this about to be dry, just like how this episode was dry. But let's get into it, y'all. Picks up with Gina talking about she got a Tommy knocker on her. Supposedly, they did like a ghost tour of the caverns, and the guy was explaining to them how they call the people who have the men that unfortunately like passed away in the mines Tommy knockers, and how like sometimes they can like haunt people, so it's good for people to give an offering of appeasement. And here's my thing: Gina is such a Karen, and it shows on so many levels, because she's blaming her display of like stupidity and bad behavior on last week's episode or the night before on being possessed. And I'm sick of her. Like, y'all already know, I'm sick of Gina. And I just feel like Gina just does not want to take accountability, that she low-key, like, it seems like when Gina gets drunk, she acts stupid. And we have a myriad of digital compilations of her being that way, because there was no reason why she got so upset with Noella for not knowing who her friend, I think Tatiana, is, or like, don't nobody know that lady. She your friend, and you not that important. But Gina was just being a dick. And like, she gets on my nerves. So her and Emily with their faux fur outfits are going to the like where they, to the mining area, or to the mine. And they're going to give an offering. Shannon was up. She talks to Heather, and we find out that the ladies are gonna go shopping, I guess, except Noella, because she's doing like a spiritual thing, and I got something to say about that. But so she basically, like, so Shannon was basically filling Heather in and saying like, girl, they was up like still talking about what happened last night to like what it seems like to the wee hours of the morning. And Shannon was just like over it. So Gina's in the bathroom talking about, it didn't feel like me. Honestly, Gina, you just seem like a total asshole. Like, if I'm going to keep it a buck with y'all, she gives that. Because we've seen Gina get drunk, say some out-of-pocket stuff, and then in the morning, she blames it on, like, either the alcohol or some spirits this whole entire season. And what it seems to me is that Gina is just, like, she's a dick. No better way to say it. She is a dick. And I think she doesn't want to take ownership of that, because honestly, nobody really wants to be that. But that's what Gina is, in my opinion. Because it's like, you say mean things to people and then you blame it on the spirits, when honestly, them spirits is you, sis. So it was funny that one of the butlers and the chef were like, we've lived in Aspen all our lives and we've never heard of this. And they were telling Shannon like, girl, we don't know what your friend is doing, and that's wild. So we then see Noella on the phone with her mom, and her mom is like, are they being nice to you? And this is why I can't totally get with Noella in this whole thing about her dad passing away. And it's weird because she, like, several episodes ago, you told us how you didn't have a good relationship with your father. You were like legitimately breaking down in the confessional, saying how you felt bad that you didn't allow your son or your daughter to meet your father because you were afraid that your father was going to emotionally hurt them the way he did. So it seems weird that she has this like reaction. And like I said in my previous video, I can see it in the sense of like maybe she felt like she lost the opportunity to like mend her relationship with him. But it's like you're using that to like try to bolster this like, what's the word I'm looking for? Sympathy from these women who you've honestly rubbed the wrong way since you got up on the cast. And granted, I think to a certain extent they've been rude to you, but for your mom to be like, you would think they would be nice to you after, you know, your father passing away. And I'm like, okay, yes, it sucks that her dad died. So I don't think like that I have to make light of that situation. Like I love my daddy, so I don't know how I'd be either. But I just feel like just because he's gone doesn't mean that all the things that you've done to people just washes away. So you can't expect the ladies to just be overly like coddling you or trying to be like sympathetic or empathetic towards you when they don't really even like you like that. So we see Gina and Emily drop down the basket that they made earlier in the house to like give an offering to the Tommy knockers and like tell them, you know, like you can't inhabit my body anymore. Which I'm like, they weren't, sis. You're just a dick. So we see everybody heading to the this shop, I think called Marcus, that's in town, so the ladies can shop. We then get this scene of Emily and Gina in the car, and they're talking about how Gina just wants a better relationship with Shannon, and she feels some type of way that Shannon is able to connect or has been a lot nicer to Noella than she has been with Gina and Emily. And the truth of the matter is, they're right to a certain extent. When Gina and Emily came on the scene, Shannon really wasn't featuring them. And that's because Bronwyn, Vicky, and I think Tamra and Kelly were still there. So it wasn't like she had to be cool with the newbies. Like, she was cordial with them, but she didn't have like a vested interest in Emily and Gina the way it seems that she has with Noella. The other thing is that like Gina hasn't been nice to Shannon, so I don't get why she just thinks that Shannon's supposed to like come to her with open arms and just accept all the things that she's done to her. So that's weird to me. It's weird to me that she expects this lady to just be nice to her when she's done things to her. So I was just like, no, man. So there's like this bear in town, like a little monument. And like Gina starts crying at the monument because it's supposed to represent Shannon because Shannon wore the bear costume that previous night. And she's like, I just want you to be nice to me. Like, it hurts me that we're not close. And she gets on my nerves. That lady gets on my nerves. And I'm just like, Gina, you're annoying. You're annoying, ma'am. Because you expect someone to be nice to you after you have been such a mean girl. And I hate using that term, but you have been that. Like, Gina legitimately dropped Shannon the moment Heather popped up in the picture because Shannon is who Gina, I guess, in some way aspires to be, or she admires the opulence and wealth that Heather has. Which, I mean, Heather got money. Her and Terry got ducats. But it's just kind of like you dumped your friend to be friends with someone else. And now that Shannon did the same kind of thing towards you in the sense of she went towards Noella and got closer to Noella, now you feel some type of way. Now you're envious and jealous of that relationship. And the truth of the matter is, I legitimately, this episode made me realize that Gina has been projecting. She constantly is saying that Shannon is jealous of her relationship with Heather. But this episode really showed that, girl, you're more jealous. You're jealous of the fact that Noella and Shannon were able to get as close, and you feel some type of way that you've been friends with Shannon for 4 or 5 years and y'all have never been clicked up like that. So I was just like, oh, that's what you're doing, ma'am. It's annoying. Okay, y'all. So the next scene we see is Heather and Jen walking up talking about snow. This is how I know like they didn't have a lot of footage because it was really like a throwaway scene. It's just Jen and Heather explaining to Jen about what it's like smells like when snow is fresh falls. And I'm based off of the East Coast, like that's where I've grown up. I'm from the South, so like I know what she meant, but I was just like, why y'all put this scene in? Y'all ain't had nothing else. Y'all really ain't had nothing else. I was like, oh, all right, okay. I was like, this was not needed. So I don't know if I mentioned, but like when Gina was talking to the bear, she was like crying. Well, no, I did. I reenacted it. And so Shannon comes up there. Shannon walking alone. She see the bear. She do the whole bear thing. And she's like, oh, she sees Gina in the boutique. So now all the ladies are in the boutique except Noella. While the women are like at the boutique, Noella is doing like a chakra cleanse. And like I said, I don't think there's nothing wrong with people having different spiritual beliefs. But I do find it odd that Noella does so many different things. And the only reason why I feel that way is like, it's kind of like what my grandma says. She was like, you can't let everybody pray over you, even when you're in church, because you don't know how their spirit is. And I'm just like, Noella, do you know? Like, do you really know these people who are doing these cleansings and this like washing over your spirit and all this? Because, you know, they might be doing something else. And I just find it weird. Like, we've seen like different scenes of different people with her. And I'm just kind of like, girl, that might be why your life is kind of in shambles. Because you're letting everybody do things to you. You got to chill, ma'am. So they're at the store. And when Shannon walks in, Shannon sees Gina. And she's like, oh, how did the whole offering basket thing, to the Tommy Knockers go? And Gina was like, we did it. I don't feel any different. Gina's voice is grating. It's like a New York like accent mixed with a Valley accent. And then you turn the volume up slightly to where it's not like deafening or like causing, like giving you a headache, but it's like a gnat. It's just ugh. She annoys me. She annoys me so bad. And so so Shannon's like, girl, what's wrong? She's like, me and you need to talk, and we need to do it without everybody around. We just need to talk. And Shannon's like, oh, okay, cool. I agree. We should talk alone. So while Gina and Shannon are talking, you got Emily, Heather, and Jen shopping. And what I find funny is if you don't follow the Brooke Ashley, you should definitely check her out. It's the Brooke Ashley. She has a YouTube channel and on Twitter. She had me dead because I was like scrolling on the timeline. And she was like, you can't tell me that Gina didn't start this argument because she don't have no money. And she ain't want to look funny buying the keychain. I'm like paraphrasing, but that is what that tweet said. And when I tell you I cackled because it was giving very much that. Like we didn't even see Gina like shop. And then it also made me think about like the tea that was like casually spilled on the timeline about, and I don't know how true it is, so we're going to say alleged tea, about Gina only making $68,000 a year. Well, I'll be nice because I'll round it up. $69,000 a year per season. And everybody was like, bro, she really is the poor one out the group. And mind you, making like $68,000 a year isn't like, it's not chump change. But depending on the area in which you live in, it could be considered that. And I think, that's what, like, I think when I saw that, I was like, yeah, she gives that, she gives very Walmart, like middle class Target kind of Gina. Not like I'm shopping at Neiman's or, Bloomingdale's, or shoot, she's not even shopping at the high-end Macy's or JCPenney stores in Times Square at New York. Gina doesn't give that. And so that's just funny to me. And it also is crazy that she hasn't got like that she makes that list. If that isn't true, if that like what that person like tweeted out on their blog page is correct, because honestly, compared to the women, like especially like if I'm thinking about like Beverly Hills in Atlanta, like the ladies in Atlanta and in Beverly Hills be making like $500,000 or $250,000 or even $1 million or $1 million plus per episode or overall seasons each season. So it's wild to me that like she makes that less, if that is in fact true. So I didn't mean to go off on a tangent about that. But Shannon and Gina are talking. I was kind of happy that no one got involved really until later, till the end of their conversation, because Gina was like, I don't like that you tell everyone that I'm arrogant. And I'm like, well, and then Shannon, I like how Shannon's rebuttal was like, well, the things that I've heard you say about me lends to me thinking that that's how you think. You said that I had no friends. And Gina was like, well, you said you didn't have friends. And Shannon was like, no, I told you I have a main core group of friends. It was 5, but now it's 4. And Gina was like, no, you said it was 2. And Shannon was like, no, I've never said it was 2. And then Shannon's kind of like, I've reached out to you, but you haven't really made an effort for me. So I'm kind of like, I don't know if you really want to be friends. And then Gina's like, I've texted you twice. And I'm like, Gina, that's not the receipt that you think it is. Because she then scurries to her purse and pulls out her phone. And she shows the text message. And she's like, you're not going to say I didn't text you when I did. And I was like, well, Gina, that's text messages. Like, have you called her? Have you DM'd her online? Like, it doesn't really seem like you have made conscious efforts into like garner a relation, like fix your relationship with Shannon. So then Gina starts breaking down. Emily jumps in and Emily basically just says she just feels some type of way because she feels like you and Noella are closer than what you were giving me and Gina. And then Shannon's rebuttal to that is like, girl, when I met y'all, I was going through a divorce. Like, I was going through a divorce. I really wasn't worried about y'all. I was worried about my divorce. I was like, I resonate, I guess, a little bit better with Noella because I know what it feels like to be going through this fresh divorce. And Shannon was like, I was there for you when you were going through your stuff with, I don't know that boy name. I think his name was like Max or Zach or something. Like, I was there for you. And I think that's the issue, is that like, Gina has said things where she's like, you always want to throw it back in someone's face. And it's like, Shannon hasn't done that. She maybe like, even when she brings up like Shannon talking about the DUI situation, you brought up you having a DUI. Shannon just added that like, oh, I helped you out. I saved your life. Which your parents basically confirmed that she did. And were very appreciative to Miss Shannon Bedore. So they hug it out, which I was like dismayed because I'm looking at Shannon like, there's no way I would be cool with Gina after this. Like, I would keep it cute and I would be cordial, but I would not be friends with you when you're saying that I'm this bad person, that when you do things for people, you throw it in their face. You're also saying that like, I don't have any friends, that like, I'm all the way around, I'm just a bad person to be friends with. Like, and it's just weird to me that like Gina wants to be friends with Shannon, but that's why to me it lends to her being jealous, because I'm like, you have said all these really mean and like rude and messed up things about Shannon, and yet you are crying wanting to be friends with her when it doesn't even seem like you really like her. That's weird to me. That is very weird to me. So, you know, the ladies shop, and then the next thing you know, they go back home. Shannon got stung by a wasp. I've never been stung by a wasp or a bee. I hope I never will be. And we then see Noella take off her rings. I was kind of like weirded out that like, well, not even weirded out. I was perplexed. That's a better word. That Noella still had on the rings after this man has left you destitute and doesn't want to see his child, and basically you have no money, those rings would have been offed and pawned. I would have pawned them rings so we would have money, to sustain ourselves. So it wasn't really like a deep scene to me. Even when Shannon took her ring off, like it was a somber moment, but it wasn't like profound or deep. However, I was happy that Noella had Shannon there, and Shannon was telling her, like, you're doing the right thing. This is going to be a situation where you can look back and like be happy to God that like you made the right decision to move on with your life. And I was like, that's cute. So it's the last night in Aspen, and they decided to go out for, the last night. It's the last, get your drinks, having like last night dinner. Shannon's shoe explodes. And everybody was like, why is it taking her so long? But her shoe explodes. They go to dinner. The food looked good. Noella being overly, like, Noella shares too much of her life too quickly. And for some people that is off-putting, i.e. Heather. And she's with the sommelier. And if you don't know what that is, that's somebody who's like a wine connoisseur. So they can tell you how to pair certain wines with your dishes to make it better. She's telling him about like her divorce and how she has mad cases of wine, and when she gets mad at her husband, she when she gets mad at her ex-husband, she goes in there, pulls out a bottle of wine and drinks it with Taco Bell. And I was just like, I was kind of with Heather. I don't think it was inappropriate the way, because Heather was saying that to Emily, because they were sitting, so Heather and Noella were sitting across from each other. But I don't think it was inappropriate. I just think it was it was cringy, because it was like that man looked at her like, okay, and what else do you want with you? Like he then panned over to Heather, what wine would you like? Because I was like, no one really needs to know that about you, Noella. So then they played this game at the table where they were supposed to say like nice things about each other. Shannon lets it be known that Noella talked off her rings and how she was proud of her to move on with her life. Then Heather said some sweet words to Emily about how she admires her as a mother. And then Noella said something to Heather about, wanting to be cool, wanting to be friends, and blah, blah, blah. And the weird thing to me is like Noella has made it in her mind that Heather is just this bully and this mean girl. And to a certain extent, like it's a reach, but it's not a reach, because Heather is like the, what's it called? What's the chick off of Mean Girls, y'all? I cannot remember her name. Is it It's not Gretchen. I don't know. Heather is the HBIC of the group, kinda. She's more so like second in command, because things ain't really like the drama or the storylines don't move unless Shannon is there. But then you have Heather who's here, and then you have Gina, Emily, and Jen who are like insulating her. So for Noella, it feels like she's the odd man out, but it's kind of like Heather can't be a bully when you have done things to these women. Like you have like crossed the line with them. You have put bad taste in their mouths when it pertains to you. So it's not like when you say someone's a bully, it's normally in the context of like people outright just messing with you for no reason and you ain't really do nothing to them. But Noella has done things, and I just think she feels ostracized. But it's like you have to take ownership that you've done those things. Like in the case of Heather, I get Heather being upset. Like you're lying about something that didn't happen, and you're spreading it around like, oh, it's fact, everybody knows that you did this at the party, when it's like, did you see it? But then when they press you about did you see it, you didn't see it. So it was just weird. They ended off the night with a cute little group photo, and they had a good time. So we're back in the OC, and we find out that Shannon is throwing this rocker party, and they're making this song, which is ironic because on Jersey, the next episode after the one that just went off Tuesday, they're going to be in the studio making songs. So I guess they now making songs as groups now. But everyone's supposed to come to Shannon's house and dress up in like different little rock outfits and stuff like that. We get to see Emily take these beautiful photos with her family. She looked nice. She looked beautiful in her wedding dress. I didn't know like, I knew they got married in Las Vegas, but I felt like it was so weird when we found out that like Shane didn't propose. He just asked her on Google, like I guess Google chat, and she just said yes. And I said, couldn't be me, cause you gonna make me feel special. But everybody looked cute. Her daughters look cute. The boys looked the cutest. And she looked beautiful in her dress. I think her wedding / family photos came out really nice. The ring he gave her. So supposedly, Emily had lost her ring like 3 years ago, and Shane got her a ring and like got bands for their 10-year anniversary. And I was like, oh, that was like a sweet gesture. And the ring looked actually nice. What I found funny is like Gina was scowling. That is the hater that people need to look out for, because I rewatched that scene like twice because I wasn't sure if I was just like, if I was reaching. But like, no, like when he pulled out the ring, she's sitting there like she's, and then like when she tries like, yay, it felt forced. It felt like Gina is the one who's really jealous of everybody else, in my opinion. I think Gina wanted a lifestyle, but unfortunately that DV situation happened with her ex, and then him cheating on her for those many years. And it's like the life that she thought she was going to have, being a stay-at-home mom and like being on this reality show, garnering all this like accolades and like money and all that stuff, hasn't happened. And I think she just looks at everybody else and she feels some type of way. I also think that's why she's okay with being Heather's pet project, because she's in the proximity of opulence and wealth. Because, girl, she sons you and you kind of just take it. And I mean, and when I say son, it's not like Heather is directly like demeaning her, but it's like that's the air around it. Like, you're the kid's sister. So the next thing we see is everybody getting ready. We see Shannon's core friends there. And I said, come on, Shannon. They over here peeling and cooking things. And it was cute. They made their the music, the song sounded horrible, but it was for giggles and laughs. I think the best person who looked the best to me was actually Ryan. I did not expect him to be, I think, Tommy Lee with all those fake tattoos. And then you had Jen being Pamela Anderson. Yeah, Jen was Pamela Anderson. I don't know who Emily was supposed to be. I do know that Noella was like, not Lenny Kravitz, Jimi Hendrix. She was Jimi Hendrix. Gina was Gwen Stefani. I don't know who Heather was supposed to be, nor do I know who Shannon was supposed to be. But it was cute. Everyone was having a good time. They sit down to have dinner. It got awkward because Jen wanted to have a moment. And like she tells her husband, this little Jack, she was like, I want to say something that's going to, that you're really going to hate. And he was like, she was like, it's very mellow, but you're not going to like it. And then he was like, well, don't say it. You could not say it. And I'm just like, Jen, you do things that make your husband uncomfortable. And I feel like if the roles were reversed, like if Ryan was in Jen's position and it was a woman and was like a housewife, we would all be side-eyeing her, like side-eyeing Jen as the husband, because we would all be like, why are you trying to, like, she's telling you, or he's telling you he's uncomfortable. Why are you trying to make him uncomfortable? So then she talks about how she was happy, like how she was at Shannon's house when she let us know they separated, but they're in a good place. And she thanks all the ladies for being there for her. But then you could tell they're not in a good place. So it was like this expression of like their love. It was awkward. It was mad awkward because he was like, and then she was like, she told the guy, like, to their waitress at Shannon's house, like, oh, can you get me some champagne? He was like, let's not, because I think he has PTSD from how much Jen acted a fool in front of Heather's people. So they all go around the table. They end up singing their little song. It was cute for what it was, but this episode was dry. It was dry. But I'm going to read off everybody's. You know how they do at the end, like what they're, like how they're doing. So it says, for Shannon and John are planning to buy a boat together, but Gina won't be invited on board. So her core friend group will remain at 4. I don't blame her. You got Noella. Noella is dating a younger man who she believes is her twin flame. Y'all, twin flames, I have actually had to like Google to understand that. A lot of people have a misconception of what twin flames is. Some people think it's like soulmatey, but then other people feel like it's like not a good thing. So I don't know if I would want to call somebody I'm with a twin flame. And mind you, Noella, girl, slow down. You just got out of a relationship. So, then it says she moved into a new house in Orange County. Okay, so she's not squatting. She said, but there is no sex dungeon yet. She don't need one. If it's going to look cheap like the one she had with that man. The next one says Jen just put her home on the market. She and Ryan have been separated for over a month. They are looking for a fresh new start in a new house. So I guess they got back together. Who knows? For Gina, it says Gina recently gave Travis a tour of her hometown in Long Island. They are saving up for a bigger house, one that can fit their kids and Gina's overinflated ego. Heather and Terry recently celebrated their 25th anniversary of their first date. They are throwing a huge party for the twins' graduation this spring, and the sushi will not be. Yeah, because everyone's tired of you eating sushi, girl. Y'all gonna get mercury poisoning. And then the last one, Miss Emily. Emily has been in touch with her father and may take her kids to visit. She still is fundraising for the California Innocence Project, so good for her. Others say she's still guilty of stirring the pot, which she is. So overall, I would say I would give this entire season a C-. I would give it a C- because I think that reunion is going to be dry as crap. And I also think there was so many lulls this season that it wasn't really hitting on nothing. I really think the only people they should bring back would be Emily, Shannon, Heather, and Noella, and then add 2 new people, or maybe possibly bring back an old cast member. I don't want it to be Tamara or Vicky, or Megan Edmonds. I think maybe they could bring back Gretchen. Because, I mean, Gretchen was a fun time. Don't bring back Kelly. But, yeah, I just think that it was, we need some spice. Heather didn't really hit the way we thought she was going to hit. But, yeah, y'all, that is it. That is all. Remember to be bravely authentic. Drop down in the comments below and let me know your thoughts. And, yeah, I'm out, y'all. Deuces.